Hello, everybody. Welcome to D'Agostino's Trattoria. This is Chef Dan and Brandy, the owners.
Hi, everybody.
Dan is also the chef. And Dan, would you tell us a little bit about D'Agostino's Trattoria, how long you've been here, where you're located?
Yeah, we opened November 1st, 2018. We're on the southwest corner of Buffalo and Flamingo Drive, behind the Walgreens. And we've been in business for just a little over about a year and a half now.
What's the website address?
www.d'agostinoslv.com. No punctuation, no spaces.
And if somebody wanted to join your newsletter, what's the best way to be able to do that?
Email us at d'agostinostrattoria@gmail.com. No
All right.
punctuation, no spaces.
Great. So before we get started, Chef Dan, I just wanted to make sure that everybody kind of knows. I know that some people might have seen you somewhere before. Where might we have seen you in the past?
Most recently, before we purchased the restaurant and opened ourselves, I was at the Westgate, and you may have seen me on some of the lifestyle shows in the afternoon on Channel 5 and Channel 8, doing cooking demonstrations while I was chef de cuisine at the Westgate Buffet. Prior to that, we have several customers, regulars, frequent customers that belong and live at Sienna Golf Club. They may have seen me there. I was there for several years. And also at Red Rock Country Club, where Brandy and I actually met and became friends, and here we are.
All right, great. So we want to make sure that people like and follow the D'Agostino's Trattoria Facebook page, right?
Yes, please.
And while you guys are watching this, if you also could maybe click the like button and follow or share. Let's get everybody involved with this, all of your friends. And if you want to start a watch party, that'd be really a lot of fun too. So let's go ahead and get started with some cooking some chicken cacciatore.
Yes, so today we're going to be doing chicken cacciatore, classic Italian dish. Cacciatore, loosely translated, means in the style of the hunter or hunter stew. We're going to be using chicken legs and thighs today. Chicken is a little bit scarce in the markets these days. I wasn't even actually able to get the pieces that I wanted. I like to use bone-in, skin-on thighs and legs. But today I'll be using boneless, skinless thighs and bone-in, skin-on legs. Important to mention that this recipe can also be done with rabbit, duck, squab, and if any of the markets don't carry the products that you need, you can probably actually go out and maybe scrounge up a possum or something. Depending on what part of the country you're in. Anyway, so we're going to get started here.
Hey, real quick, what if somebody's a vegan? Could we do like portobello mushroom or something like that?
Absolutely, you could just do all vegetables in this dish. Make a nice hearty stew, that'd be fine. You could probably throw some tofu in there if you wanted to for protein.
Okay, great. Let's get started.
So the first thing I want to show you is if you look at the recipe online, I do want to mention that this is just a guide. Shouldn't be taken verbatim because you're going to have to make some adjustments along the way, and I'll explain that as we go.
And there's hundreds of versions of this out there. I mean, depending on what part of Italy you're from and everything.
There is. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to julienne the vegetables. So I have some here prepared, ready to go. Bell peppers, ribs removed, seeds removed, and we're going to do a nice julienne. Okay, the red pepper, same thing. I quartered these to make it a little easier. Okay, so there's your nice julienne on the peppers. So on the onion, you're going to remove the top and the bottom and the skin, and then we're going to cut across this way. When you get to this end, turn it over. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put those ready to go. We're going to add these to our saute in here in a few minutes.
So while he's doing that, I'm going to shoot down to the actual recipe list. If anybody wants to do a screen capture, you'll have this for yourself. And also this same list is over on our post on the D'Agostino's Trattoria Facebook page too. All right, back to Chef Dan.
So on the mushroom, for safety purposes, remove the stem That gives you a nice flat surface to cut from. Nice and thin. And then I'm going to show you how to dredge and sear the chicken. Okay, so I have a boneless chicken thigh here. I'm going to season it generously, salt and pepper. I like to mix my salt and pepper so it's a 50-50.
Hey Dan, while you're doing that, what was that Auntie May used to sing? She's a part of our D'Agostino family. Whenever she salted and peppered anything.
Oh, salta-peepa, 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 salta-peepa.
That's right.
Okay, so dredged in flour. We'll go over to the stove. And we're going to add a little bit of EVOO. Want a nice thin coating, and the reason why we do flour is two reasons. One, prevents sticking to the pan. The other one is color, and then lastly, as it cooks in the broth that we'll show you later, as the juices and the fat render from the meat, it will actually combine with the flour and create like a roux, which helps thicken the sauce. So right in the pan here, nice and hot. If you start to see some dark brown around the edge, you may be scorching your flour a little bit, so you can just adjust your heat a little. What we're trying to do is just get a nice golden brown.
While we're waiting for that to brown, everybody, now that you have the recipe, what we're hoping you'll do is actually post your pictures of your own cacciatore, however you decide you want to make it with whatever protein you want to use, and post it to your Facebook page and tag D'Agostino's Trattoria's Facebook page. What we're going to do is, after we're done with this, we'll probably give you a few days, and we're going to pull all of those people's pictures, and one of you will win a $25 Trattoria, D'Agostino's Trattoria gift card that you can use when we're reopened for dine-in service.
Another 10 seconds maybe here.
So right now, D'Agostino's Trattoria has suspended its contactless delivery and contactless pickup service just for the next few weeks or so, while the city gets through its COVID-19 surge. We just thought that it was important to put people before profits, and so we're suspending operations for that reason just for a couple of weeks, and then we'll resume the contactless pickup and contactless Grubhub delivery service as soon as we feel that it's safe to start doing that again. And hopefully soon after that, we'll get back to the dine-in service, which is, anybody that's been here, is really spectacular.
Okay, so that's what you want your chicken to look like. And then you're going to want to set that aside. And in the same pan, we're going to start sauteing our vegetables. So we're going to go onions first. You should hear that. That's how you know your pan is the right temperature for sauteing. We're going to add our peppers now. Again, a little EVOO on the bottom.
Guys, if you have any questions as we go along, go ahead and ask them if you like. We can also do a quick Q&A at the end as well. I see Melanie Dunlap Phillips is on, and we want to say happy birthday to her. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday, Melanie!
Happy birthday!
Okay, so we're going to saute these just a little. Try not to get any color on, but we just want to get them started. And then we're going to add our minced garlic. Again, Not necessarily measuring exactly what's on the recipe. That's the wonderful thing about savory cooking, is that you can adjust it along the way. Not so much with baking. That's why I'm not a baker. I'm going to saute that garlic in until it becomes aromatic.
You want to make sure you don't burn it, right? You don't want it brown, right, Dan?
Not necessarily brown. Okay, so one of my favorite things to say is that I love to cook with wine. Sometimes some of it actually manages to make it into the food. So we're going to add our white wine now, Chablis. You can use any kind of dry white wine you like. And then we're going to add our chicken stock. So on the recipe you have a portion of chicken stock which is for the braise. You're going to want to reserve some chicken stock near your stove, because you'll need to add a little bit here and there during the cooking process. This dish takes about 45 minutes on the stove top. Nice simmer. So our chicken's in. Now we're going to add our tomato sauce. What I have here is our house-made pomodoro. You can use a store-bought tomato sauce. I like Rouse. Rouse is pretty good for commercial products. Sometimes if I don't have time at home to make sauce from scratch, I'll use Rouse. Right.
When you do make it from scratch, Dan, what do you think is the best canned tomato sauce or tomatoes that you use?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to give a little shout out to my friend Ann at Sienna Foods LLC, Italian Market. She's on Valley View between Sunset and Russell. She has great imported Italian products. If you're going to do your homemade sauce with some really good tomatoes, you'll want to pay Ann a visit at Sienna Foods. Nice whole peeled tomatoes. So I got the capers in now. We're going to add the oregano. Going to give this a little stir. Kind of baste the chicken here. Now, if you don't have a pan that's large enough to do all of the chicken in, like I have here, you can use the smaller pan like I used to show you how to sear that first thigh there. Just do it in smaller batches. Just do a couple pieces at a time. Set them aside. And then in your larger pan, you can do the sauteed vegetables like I showed you. And if you need to, you can put the chicken in a Pyrex dish, oven-safe baking dish, and just add the sauce and the onions and stuff to the top. And you can cook that in your oven, 350 degrees, probably for no less than 1 hour. Internal temperature of your chicken should be 165 degrees.
Covered or not?
Uncovered. So if we were doing this stovetop, see now we got it to a nice boil. We would just reduce that to a simmer and let it stay on the stove for about 45 minutes. And you'll want to, keep an eye on it every 5 minutes or so. If the sauce starts to get a little too thick, you just want to add a little bit more chicken stock to it until the cooking process is finished. And now I'll show you our finished product. This is chicken cacciatore finished. You see the consistency of the sauce there. It's still a little loose, but nice and thick. And we're going to go over to plate. Now I would recommend, if you wanted to incorporate a starch into this dish, some nice orzo, tossed in butter, maybe a little Parmesan cheese and fresh parsley. You could do it over some penne or some capellini. Even risotto would be great. And the reason I chose this dish today is because it's kind of a comfort food, and it's something you can make once and kind of reserve and get a couple nice meals out of it. Finish with a little fresh parsley. And voila, chicken cacciatore.
Parmesan on the top, or should we leave it alone?
Oh, you can always add a little cheese on top. Why not?
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Ain't easy being cheesy. Exactly. So, Brandy, tell us a little bit about, we've got this wonderful chicken cacciatore dish. What kind of wine would you say would go best with this?
Well, I pair everything with white wine. I'm a Chardonnay girl. But red blends are really making a comeback these days. We have a really good Prisoner red blend. It's delicious. We just featured it at our recent wine dinner, Prisoner wine dinner. Our wine rep, Amanda Norman, who is a fabulous wine rep with Breakthrough Beverage, introduced us to the Prisoner Wine Company. Beautiful red blend, Cabernet. You can't go wrong with nickel and nickel.
What do you have that one there?
We have a nickel and nickel Cabernet. It's very good out of Napa. And we also have a Pinot Noir out of Willamette Valley. Pinot Noir. We serve this by the glass and by the bottle here. It's a huge hit, full-bodied. Any of these wines would pair perfectly. Drink whatever you're in the mood for.
Exactly.
Ciao, mangiare.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining D'Agostino's Trattoria's first ever Facebook Live cooking demonstration. We're planning on doing more of these. We're going to try to get convinced Dan to show us how to make homemade gnocchi out of leftover mashed potatoes, and then we'll do some other fun things, maybe some desserts and things like that as well during this temporary suspension of our service. And we look forward to seeing everybody in a couple of weeks when we resume our pickup and our takeout service, and of course very shortly after as we go out and bring in our customers back into the restaurant where we really love to serve them.
And we miss everyone.
We miss you. Stay safe. Stay home for Nevada. Stay home for America. We'll be through this soon. Much love from D'Agostino's and from Dan and Brandy Thompson.
And happy birthday, Melanie.
Happy birthday, Melanie.
Grazie everyone. Ciao. Good night.
See you soon.